So yeah, Philip, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 7 of the How to Write for a Living podcast. And believe it or not, you are the first male guest that I've had. I don't know why that's happened that way, but you're the first male guest. So it's great to have you here. You're very welcome.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much for having me. And what an honor, honestly speaking, to be the first male on your show. I mean, I'm pretty sure you had amazing females before me. So let's hope this interview can live up to your high standards.
I'm sure it will. Okay, Philip. So let's just start off by you telling me a little bit about yourself. So tell me about your background, where you're from, about your family, your work, all that sort of stuff, and I'll hand over to you now for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm Philip. I'm born and raised in Austria. Now I'm living in Vienna. Many of you might not know me because I've always been operating in the background with this business, but many of you might know my fiance, Sinem Günel. And yeah, basically Sinem and I, we met about 7 years ago, and it took us only like, I think 3 or 4 months to start our first business together. And yeah, since then it was a hell of a ride. Let's call it that way. We first started with offline workshops, but then we quickly moved to the digital space. And everything started when Sinem started to write on Medium, and suddenly her articles about the workshops that we did in person got some traction. And yeah, one thing turned to the next thing, and suddenly a couple of our friends were reaching out to us and asking, how are you doing this on Medium? Can we also do that? And then we helped a couple of friends, and they all said, yeah, you should turn this into a business. And then at the same time, COVID hit, and suddenly everyone needed to stay home and wanted to make money on the internet. And that's how the Medium Writing Academy was born. And yeah, fast forward 5 years later, we're still running the Medium Writing Academy. We're still loving it. We helped over 1,000 students crush it on Medium. But yeah, 2 months ago, we also joined Substack. And I have to say, even though I'm running an online writing business, I've never enjoyed writing myself. I've never enjoyed writing long form articles or something like that, but I've always been interested in writing short form posts. And yeah, that's how I fell in love with notes. And yeah, it all started as an, yeah, I mean, we had honestly speaking, I've been looking at Substack for 3 or 4 years, but it took Michael Simmons and Tom Kugler to call us multiple times and to really tell us, hey guys, you need to do this. You need to show up there as well. And yeah, so I don't know how Michael did it, but he turned me into a writer, something that I never thought would be possible.
Yeah. And you're doing a good job as well. Like your notes on Substack are great. I've sort of been watching what you're doing and what you and Cinema are doing, and you've done a great job in the 2 months you've been here already. You've really grown your following and your paid following as well, which is really cool. And I'm gonna come back to Substack in a minute, but I want to ask you a bit more about your business, Write, Build, Scale. So can you tell me
Yeah.
more about that?
Yeah, sure. I already mentioned the Medium Writing Academy. This was our program to help people succeed on Medium. But once you reach a point where you succeed on one platform, you are facing a new challenge. The challenge is the following. You want to be platform independent. So you want to build something that can stand the test of time. I'm not saying that Medium will be gone one day, but if you take a look at MySpace, it was the number one place to be. It vanished. Facebook had so much low audience organically for people. It vanished. So we really believe that you need to be independent. I myself experienced a similar thing. When I first became an entrepreneur, I started on Skillshare and I was able to message 20,000 people via email to promote my courses. From one day to the other, they removed this option and I was not able to communicate with my students anymore. And that moment I told myself, I will never be fucked again in my life by not having an email list. So I really can't stress this enough. Build your own email list. And that's exactly where Write Build Scale comes into place. If you're already writing online and you're making an income, you can join Write Build Scale and we help you build an audience, build an email list, and scale with digital products or courses. So you can think of Write Build Scale as a mastermind community that is an accelerator where we focus on supporting each other and giving online writers all the tools that they need to build an online business on top of the writing.
Mm,
So basically, Sinem always did the coaching part for all the writing things, and I'm more focused on the business building aspect. So Write Build Scale was just the logical next step in our journey. We've seen it's also a great asset for people who are just became successful online writers.
yeah. Fantastic. And again, you guys are doing an amazing job with that. I've been watching what you're doing with that too.
Thank you so
And
much.
yeah, and you're so right, Philip, as well. Like, a huge issue with the internet is that we don't own the sandboxes we play in a lot of the time, and they can just be ripped away from us at a moment's notice. And I've seen people lose their entire livelihoods almost
Yeah.
because the rules change and algorithms change. And I think you're right. It's so important to have an independent platform
Yeah.
to build our audience on, and I think it's really cool you guys are doing that. Um, what is your kind of if you were giving advice to somebody who is
Hmm?
thinking about starting a mailing list, what is like the one bit of advice you would give them as they start out?
Sure. If you want to build your email list, this is a little boring advice, but it's the only thing that's really working. You really need to understand your target audience. You really need to know who it is that you are helping with. And then you need to create a freebie. Basically, a freebie is something that you give away to them in order for them to sign up to your email list. I think so far that's the basic part. That's what everyone's doing. For me, it's important that you build a freebie that really helps people get to the point where you want them to be. So for
Mm,
example, for us, the ideal customer is someone who knows about Medium, who's already writing on Medium, and who understands that it has a lot of potential for them. Often people come to us when they first heard about Medium, but they don't have any idea of the potential of the platform. So therefore, they're also not willing to invest in a course. So what we've done is the following. We created a 5-day email course that helps people go from new to medium to a point where they understand the potential of it, where they are the ideal customer. And
mm,
that's what I want everyone to do. When you create a freebie, make sure it provides value and it helps people get to a point where they then are your ideal customer. So if you just give them a freebie like 20 accounts to follow on Substack or Medium whatsoever, it's cool. Okay, it's value to them, but it's not turning them into your ideal customer. But
mm,
once you've done that with a freebie, you will see you will have way better conversions.
That's great advice, actually. Yeah, because there's a lot of freebies out there that, as you say, they have value, but they don't really do anything beyond
Yeah.
giving that initial value. And I think that's really important because you're kind of like, is it kind of like warming up audience before they move on to your main offer? Is that the way you would
Yeah.
describe it?
I mean, yeah, you need to warm them up and you also need to show to them that you are worth their time and later on also their money. So it's a
Mm.
combination of warming them up and really establishing yourself as their go-to guide.
Okay, cool. And what platforms have you been using to host your email? Obviously, you're on Substack now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what have you used so far to this point?
Yeah, we've always been using ConvertKit. We are huge fans of ConvertKit. I would never ever leave ConvertKit for Substack. Maybe one day we will leave ConvertKit for another platform. I don't know yet. As of right now, we're super happy there. And it's important for us to build two separate email lists because with Substack, it's great for community building, but you cannot do the things that I as an online marketer need to do. So for example, I cannot say, hey, only send an email to the subscribers from the US because it's Independence Day and I want to run a special campaign to them. Or we send the email to everyone who hasn't opened the last two emails.
Hmm.
So a lot of people compare email lists with ConvertKit. I also totally get it when you are new to this field, but once you've been an online marketer, you never want to mix those things up because, in my opinion, they are completely different things.
Yeah. Do you think that somewhere that Substack is kind of lacking a little bit? Do you think it should have more segmentation and more email options?
Honestly speaking, I think Substack isn't lacking at all. Substack, in my opinion, Medium was here 5 years ago and Substack was here. And
Hmm.
it absolutely catched up. You can do so many amazing things on Substack, like DM people, connect with them, share long form, short form, do video, do podcast, can do almost everything. Yes, you cannot do email tagging and segmenting, but I think that's not the use case. That's not what they want to be used for. If they would implement those features, they are positioning themselves as a competitor to ConvertKit, Aweber, and so on. And that's a fight they cannot win. But
Hmm.
if they position themselves as a competitor to Medium or probably X, then their email features are more than good enough. And yeah, that's a fight they can win. And that I probably also see them win in the long term.
Yeah, that's a great point actually. Um, sort of on that same sort of thread, how do you think that online creators and writers can position themselves differently from other writers and creators so they will stand out? Is there a way in which people should work on their personal branding so that they aren't just part of the crowd? Like, how can people do that? How can they set themselves apart?
Mm. I mean, the easiest way to set yourself apart is by being 100% you, because there's only one of you. There's only one David McElroy. If you stay true to yourself, you will automatically stand out from the crowd.
Hmm.
That being said, this also means pissing people off. If I'm 100% honest and I share things and I'm getting more and more into this, you will never read from me when someone says something like, yeah, he got promoted at work. I will not leave a comment and say, congratulations on your new position in the job, because I strongly believe that 9 to 5 is a waste of time because you're building someone else's dreams. You're not building your own dreams.
Hmm.
And by saying that, I might piss some people off, but I might attract other people.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, just be rememberable. You need to be someone, you need to offer something that people can remember you for. I mean, if you take a look at Substack, there are many amazing publications where every title image looks the same. That's something I could also see ourselves do. And by the way, when I always say ourselves, it's me and Sinem, and recently also Yari. Yari Ruma, he also joined us for Substack, and we're doing this all together. But as of right now, it's a little loose. We just started 2 months ago, and we haven't implemented a full branding yet. But that's something that I can do on a personal level, but also on a brand level. So
Hmm.
there's really a lot of potential. What are your points of view? What would you do?
Me?
I hope it's fine in your podcast to bounce the question back to you.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's good. It's conversation. Yeah, the last guest did this as well. Yeah, I think you're right. I think just being yourself is so important, especially in the age of AI when people can just replicate, this kind of swill that's really not that great and it doesn't read
Mm,
very well and everyone sounds exactly the same. Case in point, I've seen reviews written for books on Amazon and things
mm,
like that have just used ChatGPT. They've literally copied the synopsis of the book, put it into ChatGPT, and then it spat out a review, and it sounds like a robot.
mm,
It's terrible. And I think just the simplest thing people can do is just be themselves, as you say, and just write as
mm,
themselves, have their own opinions online.
mm,
I agree with what you're saying about being unafraid to piss people off because it's going to happen anyway. So there's no point in trying to please everybody. That's not what we're trying to do as creators. We're trying to reach a small corner of the internet that aligns with
yeah.
what we say, and reach those people and help them. So yes, I totally agree, Philip. You're spot on with that. I want to go back to something you said a minute or two ago there about how you think that 9 to 5 is a waste of time. And I do agree with that. To a certain extent, I do agree with what you're saying. Tell me more about that. How have you come to the point now where you believe that 9 to 5 is a waste of time, and where can you see things going in the next sort of
Yeah.
5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, it's a harsh claim. 9 to 5 is a waste of time. I mean, I see my mom, she's working as an assistant, as a dentist, and I'm not saying she's wasting her time doing that.
Mm.
But I personally believe that especially when you're young, you should give entrepreneurship a chance. I've seen this for myself. I've always known that I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to do my own things. I want to build things. And I strongly believe that just by becoming an entrepreneur or being an entrepreneur for at least 3 years, you will learn so much for yourself that you then later on will be better off as an employee. Probably if someone would come to me and they would say something like, hey, I've been an entrepreneur for 7 years. I failed. Now I want to work for you. I would immediately speak to that person because I want to know why they failed. And if I believe that the person is a fit to me, I would hire them always ahead of anyone else wanting to do a 9 to 5, just because I know about the work ethics that are necessary to become an entrepreneur, even if it's only for 3 years. But that's the first thing. The second thing, that's what I've seen. I mean, I studied business economics at university. I never finished my studies because I focused fully on my business. But the people that I studied with, many of them did internships at large companies and corporations. And yeah, at 3 p.m., they already know that they are going home 2 hours from now, which is super cool and super amazing for them. But if I'm in the middle of work and all I care about is when I can go home, then there's no purpose in doing so.
Mm.
Also, another huge benefit when you become an entrepreneur, yes, in the beginning, you need to work 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. That's totally fine. But then once you've made it, you come to a point where you can value your time differently. For me, the biggest value in my life is freedom. And freedom for me means if I want to do this podcast call with you today, I can do it. I don't need to ask a boss if 3 p.m. afternoon during an interview is fine. If I don't want to work tomorrow, I take 2 days off. But on the other hand, if I'm working on a lounge, I can also allow myself to work 60 hours a week or more. So it's just responsibility and ownership. And I love both of those things.
Yeah. And I'm gonna quote yourself back to you here because I found this quote on your website. We strongly believe that the world would be a better place if more people could do what they love for a living.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
First of all, whenever you find a quote on our website, it's written by Sinem because she's doing all the copywriting and everything. Yeah, but I love the quote. I strongly believe that if you want to do a good job in life, you need to be passionate about it. And that's true for an entrepreneur, but also for the guy next door who's cooking up the pizza that I order twice a week. So if you are an entrepreneur, I strongly believe you are more likely to do a good job because you love what you're doing.
Mm,
And if everyone would give 100% at what they are doing in their jobs in their life, then the world would be a much better place.
mm,
I have no idea how to motivate an employee to long-term give 100% to what they're doing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people love to do that. But the people that I personally learned the most from in my life are either entrepreneurs or professional athletes.
mm,
Probably the same could be true for artists, but I haven't been around artists so much because I've grown up with professional tennis. So I've always loved to look at those people who are willing to give everything, who are willing to sacrifice in order to create more amazing things. I also believe, for example, that take a look at online platforms like Etsy, for example. So many cool things are created on those platforms. If more and more people become creators, more and more creative and cool stuff is available for everyone to purchase.
mm,
So I strongly believe in that the future is for entrepreneurs and creators.
mm. I agree. And
Thought so.
yeah, and it's interesting the way you describe that, how you like the idea of people going out and trying entrepreneurship for a certain period of
Mm,
time, and even if they fail, then and if someone came to you and said they failed as an entrepreneur, but they tried it for a few years,
yeah,
you'd be more inclined to speak to them than somebody who hadn't tried it yet. And that's kind of like almost an inversion of what people tend to think of solopreneurship and entrepreneurship like, where people work for a long, long time in like a 9 to 5 and then they
mm,
leave that and become a solopreneur. But you're talking about kind of doing it the other way around, where you try it first, entrepreneurship, and then you
mm,
you leave and enter 9 to 5 with the skills that you've acquired, which is really interesting because I have seen people do that who were solopreneurs for a few years and then they decided
yeah.
to stop and go back to 9 to 5, which personally I really would struggle to do because as you say, I really enjoy the freedom of 9 to 5 is or of not 9 to 5 of solopreneurship as well.
Can I
Um,
quickly interrupt you?
yeah.
You said something so amazing, and I always tell this, my friends. I'm 100% unemployable by right now. I cannot work for someone else. Honestly speaking, it would never work. I the not having the freedom would kill me. If I need to sit in an office and do the work that I need to do right now with 30 degrees, and if I need to wear a suit or even a shirt or something, I don't know. It just would not work. Honestly speaking, I'm at a point where I'm 100% unemployable.
Yeah, I am too. I could never go back to having a boss and having someone tell me what
Yeah,
to do and build somebody else's vision, as you say. My wife is also a solopreneur. She's exactly the same. She used to be a teacher, and she loved being a teacher, but she just could not go back to that lifestyle where she's been told what to
yeah.
do and there's no security and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think we're definitely on the same page, Philip, with what we're talking about. I want to talk a wee bit about Substack as well, if that's okay.
Mm,
Uh, so
sure.
so you mentioned that Michael and Tom encouraged you guys to join. How have you found it so far? How have you seen Substack being a different kind of platform right now to what else is out there on the internet?
Yeah. First of all, Substack is the full package. If you think of online writing, there you can have a blog, you can post on social media, and you can do email marketing. So for me, those are the three big things where you can hang out as an online writer. Substack has a blog with its post feature where you can write long form. It also has its social media with notes,
Mm,
and it also has the email aspect. So for me, Substack is the full picture. I've always been a huge fan of Medium, but Substack managed to do one thing amazingly that Medium wasn't able to do, and that's allowing people to connect with each other. If I write the story on Medium and then I get a comment from you, then I respond to your comment, then maybe you respond back to it, and then the conversation is dead. I've never seen conversations where people like respond 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, or for example, talk about things like coming on someone's podcast. If you leave a comment in my article saying something like "great job," I say thank you, and then you say, would you like to join my podcast? It's like you're spamming. No one likes that. Certain kind of conversations need to happen in private, in a message feature, one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's something you cannot do on Medium. What if you wanted to do, we wanted to do that on Medium, we need to find the people on Twitter, DM them there, which is super amazing because I'm not using Twitter. So I only go there to send DMs to people. I need to send them an email. I'm lazy checking my own emails. So why should they read that, or finding them on Facebook? I mean, that's all not working. With Substack, I write something, someone comments, I join them in a private conversation. That's cool. That's amazing. So I really, really love that.
Mm.
Also, Substack is, in my opinion, it's about, and that's something that Russell said, which I really like and which I want to steal. He said, like, Substack is like what Facebook was in 2012. So it's a new platform, it's immature, but it's evolving way faster than Facebook was back then. So what does it mean? Take a look at certain posts on Substack. Some of your notes go viral, which is amazing because you're a really great writer. But I also see other people who just post a quote and get 1,000 likes on a quote, which makes no sense for me. It makes absolutely no sense to share something that already been published on the internet 100,000 times and to suddenly get thousands of likes on a platform like that. But that's okay. We're catching up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my first impression of Substack.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're right, and it's not a mature platform in the sense that it's got a long way to go, but as you say, it's evolving very fast, and it's evolving in the right way so far. And I hope it continues because there really are very few platforms on the internet other than Substack that are actually good right now. I think
Yeah.
like there's very few other platforms that are really, really vibrant and where people can connect so easily, and there's so much what's the right word for it? I don't know. Just vibrancy is the right word for it. I think
Mm,
it's just a nice place to be. The community's great, and I hope it continues in that way. It's kind of it's hard to watch platforms like Twitter, which I used to love, kind of go downhill so much over the last few years and
mm,
really, really not great anymore, and other platforms too, which just seem to struggle now because of algorithms. So that's why I love Substack personally. I think it's definitely where
mm,
I feel like I'm at home, and I'd like to be there for the foreseeable future.
yeah.
Um, in terms of your publication, Philip, what do you guys hope to achieve with that in the next sort of
Mm.
couple of years? Where do you kind of see that going?
With the publication on Substack.
Yeah.
Okay. So for us, our publication is called Write Build Scale. It's the same thing as our mastermind. Therefore, obviously, the two of them are connected. If you're using Substack with your publication, in my opinion, you have two options. You either offer something cheap to get people into your funnel and then offer them something more advanced, or you started at something that not many people are doing on Substack. You charge the people hundreds of dollars a month for you to be part of your Substack experience, and then you have the full package like community coaching and everything included. Our approach is the first one. So we want to use our publication to find the super fans and to find the people that we want to have in our community.
Mm.
We joined Substack, I think, about 2 months ago, and we had a pretty clear approach. So Substack was amazing for us because Sinem and we started Right Build Scale about a year ago, and 3 months ago, Jari joined us. And Jari is now our partner in Right Build Scale, and just joining Substack, all three of us at the same time allowed us to first time for us have a place where we can all collaborate together.
Mm.
And we split responsibilities quite clearly. So Sinem and Jari are writing the long form posts for our White Build Scale publication. And all of three of us are using notes to generate additional traffic and build our own brands. Reason for that is pretty simple. I'm not a good writer, long form. The two of them succeeded on Medium. They have hundreds of thousands of articles that they can rewrite and publish here. So that was pretty clear for us. Now we are 2 months on the platform. We said for ourselves, the first 7 weeks, we only focus on providing content as much as possible. For example, I'm a visual guy. So I've created a tracker like this. Maybe you've seen that.
Yeah, cool.
Here it says 100 meaningful comments, and here it says 200 notes. And I said for myself, in the first 7 weeks, I want to write 1,000 meaningful comments and 200 notes. I didn't get to 200 notes. I think I would be there with brief text, but I decided not to track them. But I managed to get the 1,000 meaningful comments in. And this allowed me to build a little bit of engagement and traction on the platform. We did this for 7 weeks. And after 7 weeks, we said, now we are promoting our publication to our email lists. We're doing a Substack September with our paid community to help them get on Substack as well, because the majority of the mastermind members were only on Medium before. Now we're also introducing them to Substack. Yeah, and we use this to finally get our bestseller badge, to get 100 people to pay for the publication. So all of that turned out amazingly. Actually, it took us exactly 60 days, basically 55 days of providing value and 5 days of marketing to get to that point. And this also represents my approach to business. I don't know if you read Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Chap, Right Hook.
Okay, I'm
You familiar with that? So he basically said, if you're a boxer and you want to knock someone out, you need to jab, and then knock him off with the right hand. And that's what you need to do in business. You need to serve people, provide value, and then ask for something. And that's what we did. 55 days we focused on providing value, and then 5 days we asked them to become paid subscribers.
Okay, that's fantastic. I love that approach.
Yeah.
Whenever you talked about providing value in comments, what did that look like for you? So what is a valuable comment on somebody else's note or publication?
Yeah, I call it meaningful comment on my page here, because, for example, if you post something and I say, yeah, great job, David, that's not meaningful comment. But for example, if you're sharing a list of achievements that you've got and I pick one specific one and I congratulate to that and I ask you how you did that, that's a meaningful comment. Okay. Another meaningful comment is if someone asks what have been your biggest setbacks recently, to write a couple of lines about my own setback and what others can learn from it. It's not black and white, honestly speaking, but I just made sure to write meaningful comments because I know myself. I know I'm a number-driven person. Otherwise, I just comment everywhere. Great post, awesome note.
Yeah. Perfect. And have you seen that translate into more traction for you in terms of your profile and for your publication? Have you seen people move over to being subscribers and followers because of the comments, would you say?
I haven't seen, but Sinem have seen. So it's a funny thing. So she created our publication and we got a lot of messages that people read my notes and then spent money on the publication.
Okay.
That's notifications, right? Yeah. And I'm saying I haven't, but Sinem have seen people reading my notes, and she's always getting a message, hey, someone read Sinem's notes and Philip's notes, and you made some money with it. So I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but it's happening. Yeah, it's just a funny play because we are a little bit worried that we're not all seeing those notifications, that only the person who creates the publication sees them. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started on Substack, I got 1 or 2 likes and no one DMing me. And now I'm getting a little bit more traction and I've engaged with a lot of people. It also allowed me to start one-on-one conversations with people to talk about ideas, about collaboration and everything with them. So absolutely, it 100% works. And I've also said to myself for the first 7 weeks, so basically until this piece of paper is full, at least on this side, I do not want to care about how many likes, engagement or whatsoever I get. I just want to allow myself to do a good job for 7 weeks and then learn from it. Okay. I know it's not the perfect approach. The perfect approach would be to every day recap the notes, see which one was the best. But I thought if you're starting from 0, which I basically did since I haven't published on another platform before, you just need to put in the work and analyze your data later. And I know that if I would analyze my data immediately. I would pay way too much attention on vanity metrics that don't provide any long-term sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in terms of the meaningful comments that you leave,
Hmm?
do you sit down and say, right, I'm going to spend 30 minutes today leaving these comments,
Hmm?
or I'm going to leave like 10 comments or 20
Yeah.
comments? What's your process for that?
Yeah. I'm a creature of habit and I love to do sales. So I've combined those two approaches. So first time in the morning when I get to my PC, I take a look at the last notes that I've published and I respond to every comment that someone left on my notes. By
Mm,
the way, those are not comments that I'm counting because responding to a comment on your own post is not the idea of it. The idea is to leave comments on other people. So
mm,
once I've done that, I have those two little jars here, and in each of those jars, basically in one jar, there are like 25 paper clips. And whenever I left a meaningful comment, I move one paperclip from the right jar to the left one. And I do this until all on the left side. And then I cross out an entire line and I move them back. And that's it for the day.
oh,
Maybe if I have time in the afternoon, I do it once again. But every morning, my goal is to leave 25 meaningful comments before I continue with my work.
okay, that's incredible. And I love how visual you are and how you use prompts and
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's a really cool way of working. Yeah.
sounds like I'm the super organized person, but unfortunately I have a stationary webcam, so I cannot show you. I have like a completely mess on my desk. I have post-its everywhere, but it sounds so like I'm super organized with those pieces of paper, which I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. If I turned this camera on, you'd see how messy this room is as well behind me.
Yeah.
And Philip, I wanted to ask as well, you've already talked about your publication, but in terms of just your general creator entrepreneurial setup, where do you kind of see things going for you and for Cinema in the next sort of 5 years?
Mm,
Or where would you like to be in 5 years' time with everything you're
yeah.
doing?
Um, Honestly speaking, freedom is always the most important value to me. So I start with where I don't want to be. I don't want to run a huge company with 20 employees who require me to go to the office every day. So that's not something that I want to achieve. But here's what I want to achieve. I strongly, and when I say strongly, I mean like more than everything else, believe in the power of community and working together with other people.
Yeah.
So I've also seen this. My point of view is about 10 to 12 years ago, everyone started creating digital products. Everyone wanted to sell video courses. Everyone wanted to sell ebooks. People are still doing it, but that was the big shit back then. Then a couple of years later, about 5, 6 years ago, everyone started to sell high priced tickets and coaching. So basically selling a video course with one-on-one coaching, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 50,000, and so on. So that was the next thing. But now everyone's got bored of that. So I strongly believe that the future is communities and masterminds.
Mm,
And here's a simple reason for that. For example, I have 22,000 followers on Instagram and I'm not active on Instagram anymore. But if you see my profile, you see that I have 20,000 followers. So I could legitimately create a course where I tell you how to get to 20,000 followers on Instagram and I can show you proof.
mm,
Okay, what you don't see is I have those followers for 10 years or longer because I was active 10 years ago on Instagram.
yeah.
But you don't see this when you want to purchase something. So oftentimes with video courses, people are selling their approach, their one specific approach to solving one problem at one point in time. It's like if you take a look at a mountain and you tell someone there's only one way up, I know the way, I've walked it, come follow me, I show you up. On the other hand, if you think of a digital community, it's different. So everyone wants to climb the mountain, but everyone starts on different sides and everyone walks the mountain at his own problem. And so
Mm,
therefore, if a new person joins this community and they want to achieve the same goal of the community, they also want to climb the mountain, they can say, okay, I'm facing this problem. Maybe the one person who's the most expertise in the community doesn't know the answer, but 5 or 6 of the other people have faced that path and they now know to solve it. So I strongly believe that having a community where people collaborate with each other are way more successful than any one guru telling you what to do.
mm,
Because sometimes you need people who are just a half step ahead of you, but sometimes you need people who are 2 kilometers ahead of you. And that's what a community can provide. And that's where I see the online business going.
mm.
And that's where I want to take path as well. So I want to build communities with people who are motivated, who are inspired, and who want to get to the next level. And
Hmm.
everyone who joins the community needs to be a team player.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So
I love
that's
that.
my vision of where the internet is going. Probably if we are
Yeah.
talking 5 years from now, certain things that I just said will have become true, certain things will work out differently. But I just get so much power and energy from working with motivated people that
Hmm.
that's what I want to continue doing.
Okay. You're very wise, Philip. I think everything you said there is,
Let's
yeah.
see, let's see about that.
No, really, honestly,
I just love to read a lot on those topics and
yeah.
reflect and got different opinions from experts who are already doing it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the way to do it. I think it's draw information from everybody around you and assimilate that into what you believe. Yeah, and I love the mountain analogy as well. Like that's such a clear way of describing it. I'm totally gonna steal that
Hmm.
someday, by the way, because that's really
Go
cool.
ahead.
And yeah, I agree. I agree about that. I think that community is the way forward. I think community built around email is a great way to move things forward in your business. Um, yeah, I think the whole Twitter bro guru kind of system of doing things really is moving into the past now, bit by bit. And yeah, community just more fun, having a digital online space with other people who are in your
Mm,
sphere, propping you up and you're propping them up at the same time. It's just so much more fun, and I'd like to be part of that too for the next sort of couple of decades online if
mm,
I could as well. So I'm all in on that too. Um, Philip, we're just coming to the end of this chat here, and I really really enjoyed it. I want to ask you, and this is the question I ask everybody at the end of these podcasts, if you had one final nugget of advice for anyone who wants to write for a living, so they want to earn money from their writing online, what would your
mm.
advice be?
I cannot give you any technical advice for writing because I don't call myself a writer and I'm also not as skilled as you are with writing. But I can just give you a general advice that works very well for me for online business and also for the other parts of being a creator. I would focus on being kind.
Hmm.
If you're kind to your audience, if you're open to listen to them, if you're open to connect with other people, you will go far. If on the other hand, you believe you're the biggest person in the room and you're the most amazing and you got everything figured out and everyone should learn from you, you will attract a couple of people. But the people that you attract, you will attract them for a specific reason. And I prefer to attract people with kindness and I want to work with people. I'm the kind of person who wants to be in a room of people where everyone screams out of joy if one of the persons wins in the lottery. I don't want to be in a room where everyone's like, fuck, why did they win? Why didn't I win? I'm so unlucky. No, I just want to surround myself with people who I love, who I would like to spend business and time with. And actually, I've read this on a podcast. I listened to it on a podcast recently. That's super cool. I want to work with people who I would go on a cruise ship with for at least 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be kind and you will attract kind people. That's my closing statement, if that's fine.
Yeah, that's excellent advice again. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of being kind online because there's just so much hate and rubbish and poison on the internet. And I think if we can be kind and raise each other up and applaud other people
Yeah.
genuinely without any kind of malice or envy in that, it just makes such a difference. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You attract the kind of people who like that kind of thing as well. And those
Yeah.
are the kind of people you want in your community, not people who want to step on you to get to the top of the mountain, but are going to help pull you up with them. Um, but yeah, Philip, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been great. It's been so good to chat to you. Yeah, and I hope everything you guys are doing in the future goes really well. I think you're doing a great job. I love your philosophy. I love the way you think about stuff. I love the way your mind works. I love your motivational quotes on the wall behind you. I'm totally going to borrow that at some stage as well. But yes, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate this today.
Thank you so much, David. It was amazing. Thanks for having me. I hope it was valuable to your audience. If anyone has any questions, just follow up on Substack or David, you can always, yeah, give people access to me if you want. As we said already, we both believe in collaboration. So let's do this more often. Thank you so much for having me.
100%. Thank you so much, Philip.